All right, reviews and more, back this time with a designer brand fragrance review. I don't do a whole lot of designer stuff, but my son loves Polo. He's got Polo Red, he's got Polo Ralph's Club Elixir, he loves all this stuff. And we happen to actually be at the Ralph Lauren factory store here near where we live, and he saw this, and I said, try it out, buddy, you might like this. This is a very, very, very popular fragrance. This is the EDP version. This is the newest version of it, and it's Ralph Lauren 67. Polo 67. So it looks like this right here. It's very, very well known. Again, very popular. I have the EDT version in a sampler, so I'm going to do a quick comparison as time goes on, but I'll do a quick comparison. This is just a little spritzer of it. We tried it at the actual store, and everybody's consensus was this was the better fragrance overall. So we'll see what my opinion was of that. I couldn't really tell a huge difference at the store, but there were also competing smells, and I'm not quite as discerning a nose as some others. All right, so I'm pulling this info directly from Ralph Lauren's website. So it's going to start out with green mandarin, bergamot, followed by aromatic cardamom. That sounds fairly similar to the EDT version. And the heart fragrance is a pineapple. That's the real similarity that stands out. Sesame seeds, cypress, and lavender. And the base notes include vetiver, cedarwood, and benzoin. So the big three that it pulls from here are pineapple, cedarwood, and benzoin. That's what you're going to notice the most from it. Whereas with the EDT version, you get a little bit more detail. You got some sandalwood in the base that's not there, a little more patchouli. You also have a lot of geranium in there as well. In the middle notes, other things that are similar are the pineapple, the bergamot, and aquatic accords is listed in this from Ralph Lauren. So we're going to do a quick comparison and talk about this one overall. Now, I already know what this kind of smells like. My son wore it. I wore a little bit of it at the store just to make sure that it was awesome and amazing. So let's go ahead and get this thing turned and spray the EDP. I'm going to do it on my left wrist, and then I'm going to do the EDT on my right, just so I can compare. Nice atomizer, as always, from Ralph Lauren. Oh, so good. It's very, very nice. It's very sweet, very summer, spring forward. I'd say it's probably based even off that opening. It's office safe. There's nothing offensive about that. It's not so youthful. It's not like Axe body spray or something terrible like that. I'll put some on my wrist, just see if we get anything different off the wrist. I typically do. I tend to notice more of the citrus off the wrist, which is true again. I notice it's more of like there's a little bit of sweetness to it, but off my wrist, it's a little more rindy, a little more bitter, which is not bad. It's actually very, very pleasant. I get the cardamom a little stronger on the wrist as well. This is much more pineapple-y fruity to me. On the wrist, a little more cardamom, a little bit of that vetiver is starting to already show up, and I'm getting a lot more of like a rindy citrus, and it's still a little bit of sweetness in there, which is nice. So it's not overly sweet. It's very, very pleasant overall. Put that cap back on. Then we'll jump into this little tester thing that I got. Oh gosh, I think I gotta rip the thing apart. I've never opened it before. I just happen to have it. There it is. Here's a little tester of Polo 67 EDT. We'll put EDP over to the side a little bit just so it doesn't get mixed up in there. And there's the crappy little atomizer that comes with these things. It's just meant to test the fragrance. So we'll do a quick comparison. God, my hands are almost too big for this. Okay, what? Ooh, but it's actually kind of nice. That's a nice atomizer, considering it's a little sampler. I can already tell you it's not nearly as strong. I'll put it on my wrist a little bit. It's definitely there a little, because it's a lower concentration, there's more denatured alcohol in it. It is a little more alcohol, so you gotta let that kind of flash off, and then it'll kind of take care of itself. So yes, first, very, very similar. I would say the EDT is a little more cardamom heavy, on my wrist especially. And I'm going to say that it's going to sound kind of typical, but off the paper, not a whole lot of difference. But off the skin, the EDT seems way sweeter. The EDT is way sweeter, but it's almost kind of like, I don't want to say cheaper, because it literally is cheaper, but I don't want to go down that route. But I'm going to say it's a little more maybe synthetic-y, for lack of a better term. Again, not bad. It's just maybe, look at this. It's more youthful. The EDT is a little more youthful. The EDP is just more rich. To me, it's better blended, and overall, just a better option. That's kind of where I'm at. The EDT is good if it's like if you can get it at like a discounter really cheap. That's a good idea, because they're so similar that like someone walking by is going, "Ooh, that smells really good." Is that 67? Assuming they have a good enough nose to pick that out. I certainly don't when I'm in a crowd. but let's pretend they did. You're not going to notice the difference between like the EDT and the EDP in real life. So like this, the little Polo EDT sampler versus this EDP, just in the real world, you're not going to smell a difference out and about in life. In like a perfume store or in like a Ralph Lauren or mall or whatever, you will notice a difference, but it's not so extreme that it's worth paying an exorbitant amount more money for the EDP versus the EDT. So if you can find this at a discounter and you're like, you know, I just want this smell profile, go for this. That's kind of my opinion right off the bat. I'll jump back in when the dry down is kind of complete on both of these, and then we'll kind of go from there. I'll tell you what the dry down's like. All right, so it's been a little while. The dry down has taken place between both the EDP version and the EDT version of Polo 67, and the biggest difference between the two is the EDP has a benzoin dry down with the vetiver, and it's much more rich, and in my opinion, it's better blended than with the EDT. The EDT is still very nice. They're both great fragrances, but the EDT has more like of a patchouli kind of vetiver feel. So like imagine this is basically vetiver plus benzoin, so it's very smooth, ambery, kind of almost vanilla kind of sweetness to it. And then you get this one, which is a little more patchouli, a little more like, for lack of a better term, there's a little bit of a citrusy kind of patchouli to it, a little more sweet than this one is. It's a little more, this one's a little more sharp, this one's more smooth. Again, both are great, but this one, in my opinion, is the better option, even after the dry down takes place, just because it's just so well blended. And even it's also addictive on the skin. You want to keep smelling it. It's a very, very nice fragrance. And if you don't have either one, and you're like, I'm not sure which one I want to get, if you're willing to pay the price, grab this one. I think I picked it up from the Ralph Lauren store after I got a discount for signing up for something. It was like $110 for the 4.2 ounce. And it was like, but you can find this on Joma Shop and other discounters pretty cheap as well. So really, if you're on a budget, you can go with this, and you're really not losing a huge amount. But if you are just like, you know what, I want one that I'm going to keep it. It's going to be my smell I use during the summer and spring. This is it. This is a much better fragrance. I would also say that this one is more youthful. The EDT is more, the Eau de Toilette is more youthful. This one's a little more mature, but not so much so that it's going to make a huge difference. Again, you're talking, this is not apples and oranges. It's more like Fuji versus like a Fuji apple versus a, I don't know, a Gala apple. Like those are your, like they're similar. They're definitely both apples. They're both delicious, but this one is just a little bit better overall. And I prefer this dry down to the EDT. The EDT's got patchouli, and it's not my thing necessarily. I like patchouli, but just because it's the dry down, I want to smell very smooth and kind of sweet. You get that from the EDP with that benzoin dry down with the vetiver. Very professional in the end too. This is a little more, again, a little more youthful in the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Parfum is just a little bit better in my opinion, based on my age. But any age can wear this, and this is obviously this is very safe. High school all the way to age 60 if you want the range for it. But it's just a very nice fragrance, and it's overall probably going to be my son's favorite, and I'm going to be basically barred from using it probably because he's going to want to hog it all. So off to his room it goes, and thanks for watching, guys.